Biohacking the Attachment Disordered Brain with Dr. Darleen Claire Wodzenski.
This presentation has been sponsored by the Orchard Human Services, uplifting lives by educating, counseling, and caring.
Hello, this is Dr. Darleen Claire Wodzenski with Orchard Human Services, uplifting lives by counseling, educating, and caring. At Orchard Human Services, we work with many families who have children who have suffered some sort of interruption in healthy attachment development. Attachment development is the way children acquire the capacity to be fully human beings. It allows them to love and be cuddled and nurtured by others, and it allows them in turn to become loving, nurturing beings who can have compassion for others and who can one day cuddle and nurture and care for children. When young children have an interruption in their attachment development because of some horrible misstep that interferes with the parent and child or caregiver and child, whether it's because of death, illness, deployment, divorce, incarceration, hospitalization, substance use disorder, mental health problem. It doesn't matter what the situation is, trauma, abuse, neglect, some sort of major catastrophe in the family or in the community. Doesn't matter what the reason. When a child stops developing or fails to develop healthy attachment capacity, that child is simply not equipped to be fully loving and responsive to his or her mother or parents or caregivers. And this creates incredible changes in the child's life. We see changes in the brain of children with disordered attachment. There are changes that sometimes make sense, and then some that are just strange and capricious. For example, one of the olfactory bulbs, one of the centers in the brain that are responsible for processing odors. One of them winds up being smaller in many children who suffered from trauma. These are strange and unusual things that we see, but the patterns are somewhat consistent, and while we can't predict in any particular case exactly what differences there are in the structure of the brain of a particular child, we can say in general the areas that we expect to be different, to have some sort of anomaly, to have a way that that brain developed and the way that brain functions that's different from typical children with healthy attachment development. So we know children who were neglected tend not to develop as robust structures and capacities for inhibition. So children who suffered severe neglect tend to be very wayward and make really bad choices and exhibit really seriously dangerous or aberrant or antisocial behavior. We also know that children who have disordered attachment may be more reactive to touch or sensory input. Perhaps being held and cuddled by an abusive parent was very unpleasant and that child doesn't respond well to touch. Or it could be smells or sounds or lights that are particularly aggravating. We know some children who have disordered attachment associated with trauma may actually be highly reactive. It's almost as if it's little baby PTSD, although the technical diagnosis might not be post-traumatic stress disorder. It may be a complex type of trauma or a developmental trauma. But whatever the case, these children may also be highly dysregulated and highly reactive to stimuli that the regular person really wouldn't have such a problem with. So we know all these changes are there. We also know there are changes in the biochemistry. We know children with disordered attachment who have trauma, abuse, neglect backgrounds tend to have problems with their immune system. They also may be more likely to develop mental health and other developmental problems going up into their adult years. So we have created a strategy that we call Biohacking the Attachment Disordered Brain. This is really exciting work. We are decades in the process of developing these strategies, and we're already seeing incredible results. By stacking the strategies and figuring out which ones to do together, and in some cases in what sequence to do them, we sometimes can have disordered children who have not been able to fully or healthfully attach to their parent or caregiver for months and years, suddenly within the first month, week, and sometimes even in the first session, wind up holding and eye gazing with that parent. we are seeing incredible progress in the children starting to calm down, find a sense of safety, and begin to develop a sense of trust in their caregiver. Biohacking the human mind is a really exciting possibility. We hear the word biohacking all over the place. It's really cutting edge stuff. Sometimes people are talking about nutrition, environment, epigenetics, genetics. There are so many things that you can refer to with biohacking. Here at Orchard, we talk about a combination of those things as well. We do work with epigenetic phenomenon. We do help parents investigate their children's potential epigenetic polymorphisms, which means changes in the way the DNA interact with the environment that could cause a child to have certain changes in their reactivity, immune function, and overall mental status. We also take a look at the way the brain is functioning and the way blood is flowing through the brain. So we work with types of feedback. We do HEG, we do EEG, and we also work with behavior, social and emotional development, moral and ethical development, and then we do basic family support services to help the child and the family integrate in a way that's healthy and effective so the child can grow, develop healthy attachment, and all the family members can find their place in this child's life in a way that is loving, nurturing, and supportive so everyone can move forward with hope and happiness in their hearts. So thank you for letting me share this little tidbit about biohacking the attachment disordered brain. I am really excited, and all of us here at Orchard are really excited about this new line of work that we have recently introduced into our interventions and our trainings. Please look for the book. It's coming out soon. We will have a series of online trainings and some live events, and then anytime a parent comes to us for individual intervention or counseling services or therapeutic services, we always offer whatever component of the biohacking strategies are appropriate for that child's needs. So thank you for talking with us about biohacking the attachment disordered brain. This is Darleen Claire Wodzenski with Orchard Human Services, uplifting lives by counseling, educating, and caring. And you can find us online at orchardhumanservices.org. Happy parenting!
OrchardHumanServices.org. We're a non-profit and so much more, serving children and their families with development disorders and special needs, uplifting lives by educating, counseling, and caring.